Hello, I'm Dr. Rosie Kuhn, and this series is called Spiritual Dilemmas. And the intention of this series of videos is to support and empower you to begin a relationship with your spirit self, that part of you that it's kind of confusing because it's like we don't necessarily have a context for what spirituality is, what spirit is, what your spirit self is. So these videos are to help you get curious about yourself, what you really believe is true, what truths really serve you, what's your highest truth versus other truths that you might be aligned to, what beliefs do you have that may not be working for you. So these videos will potentially help you consider all of that and think about it and maybe come to your own choices. Quite often we are engaged or have grown up in religions or spiritual traditions that we go, it doesn't line with me. It doesn't work for me to think that way, but I'm afraid to think differently. Well, these videos are to help you get to know what you really think versus what you're supposed to think or what you've been told to think. This is to help you go, well, this is what I really think. And that's what makes me happy, is hearing what you think for yourself. So this particular video today is about trauma and what we think of as PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, and how does that play a role in our life, and what do we do with that? Now, we are all survivors of trauma. We all carry post-traumatic stress. This is true. And some of us deal with it better than others or in different ways. If we look at even the birth process, you being born was actually a stressful and traumatic experience. Most infants, fetuses in that process, they go through a process of almost dying because they're suffocating as the contractions are happening, near death. And in that suffocation, in that sense of what's happening, there's trauma that they're feeling. And it's not as if we know this emotionally, but our bodies carry that. A lot of research about this and a lot of healing modalities to deal with that. There are other traumas that happen to us in life, whether it's violence or negligence or abandonment or betrayal. We have these moments, or people in war times, which is always, we're faced with situations that take us out of our comfort zone and shatter our sense of self and sense of reality in the world. And these are very traumatic and create a sense of not knowing how to deal with that other than to armor ourselves and defend ourselves against any further trauma. So you may be someone who's dealing with traumatic PTSD to a degree that you're working with a support system, perhaps therapists or psychologists or coaches or someone that's helping you go through this, where many of us are not necessarily traumatized to the degree that we can't function in the world, but that it may be inhibiting the way that we be with ourselves that can open us and expand us to greater relationship again with our spirit self or our emotional self. So as I'm saying, we're all traumatized. We all are afraid of being traumatized again. So let me use a different word than that. Quite often if I have been in relationships where I've been betrayed, then when I've been betrayed, it created a sense of, again, this armoring. And if I go around the world constantly armored, then I'm never going to be open to having a greater experience of myself beyond that trauma, beyond that betrayal. If I want, I can choose. Again, this is the self-empowerment piece of the free will piece. I can be a choice to say, I was traumatized, I was betrayed, it hurt me, And I want to get beyond that for myself. I want to know life beyond trauma. I want to know life beyond my fears. I want to know life beyond all the ways that I defend myself and keep myself safe. And when we can say that for ourselves, we can begin to see, okay, I want to stay safe. I don't want to be betrayed anymore. I don't want any more of that violence. And I want something more. And again, even in my hand gestures, you can see there's kind of this leap of faith that we need to take from, okay, I know how to keep myself safe. Can I be safe and be open to relationship with myself in a way that's different? Can I be safe with myself, trust myself that I'm safe, and begin to relate to the world or to people in a way that I'm enjoying myself. I'm enjoying the experience of being me. And this is for me the piece that's so important in my spiritual evolution is I get to enjoy me more and more. I get to enjoy who I am. And the traumas, what I've been living with, all the ways that I've been protecting myself, from further trauma, I can keep myself safe. I feel safe in such a way that I can be much more authentic with myself, much more transparent, and I'm not so afraid. The leap of faith is being able to, first of all, say, this is the truth of my traumas, and I want something greater. I want something more with myself, for myself. And being able to say that's a good thing, because it's an empowering statement. I want something more. And then begin to incrementally make choices that untether you from all the ways that you defend yourself from the trauma. There's so many ways that I was defended and have been defended so that I wouldn't get hurt anymore. But they didn't serve me in terms of really wanting to live life without the fear, without the worry, without the concerns of being hurt again. So little by little, we can take these little leaps of faith. And that's all it is. There's no big leap of faith required. Little leaps of faith is all it requires to say, this is true of my past. In this moment, I want something different. And so I will practice this, little tiny thisnesses, which is different for every single one of us. So, number one, you can do this. Number two, if you need some support, there's therapists and psychologists and coaches and ministers and people that are here to support you, and especially people who specialize in PTSD. So there are a lot of support out there for you to be able to make these tiny leaps with the support of others, if that's what you require. Totally support you in that. Feel free, I would love it if you subscribed and liked this video. Please share it with people that whom you think might appreciate this. And leave a comment if you've been traumatized, or if you've been, even the littlest ways that we've been traumatized. For instance, being in a parking lot and not finding your car. It's like, that's kind of a moment, and we can laugh about it, but it's still a moment of like, oh my God, I can't find my car. And just the littlest kinds of things and the big ones too. So I'll just leave you with that. All right, bye for now.